overthinking. I think we need more thinking.
Typically playing the most amount of minutes of any Nugget for the majority of this season. He has been carrying this team on his back. Like, the fact that the Nuggets actually overachieved in the non-Jokic month is primarily due to Murray.
Let's try to get healthy. Let's stay together. And if we can do that, we put ourselves in a good situation.
And over the shoulder, no looker.
How's it going, everyone, and welcome. I'm CS Chandler, here for another take of Nuggets basketball. So we got the Pistons again, Nuggets and Pistons, for the second time this season. This was the last time this season, as it is a Western-Eastern Conference matchup, so we won't see them again this season. Thank God, to be honest. But this was the first game on the road for the Nuggets after the tough loss against OKC. So you lost to the 1 seed in the West. Now you look to take on the 1 seed in the East for the second time, and hoping to take away some of the things you learned in both the previous matchup against the Pistons as well as the matchup against OKC. Adelman has said after that game is that the team needed to learn how to play more aggressively from the start, and you were hoping that we would get that this time around. So the injury list, AG and Cam Johnson were both listed as out, as we would suspect, but CB was listed as questionable. He would actually play his first game in several weeks now. I personally think that it was a bad choice to have him play. He was not terrible in this game, but he was not even, I would say, good. And again, I know that's more of just trying to get him more in the flow of things. But my worry is they rushed him back the first time around. I don't want to rush him back the second time. And so if they are playing him now, they damn well better be 100% positive that he is ready to go. I don't want him to have another episode like what AG went through and re-aggravating the hamstring and now out for another 4 to 6 weeks, you know? Like, you got to just be overly cautious at this point. I would rather have the squad healthy at the end of the season, like with the last several games to make that big playoff push or seeding push, than to have players healthy in spots and pools here and there throughout the remainder of the season. So I did not agree with that choice, but I'm not the one creating the lineups and who is giving the approvals. So CB played, and the starting lineup was Jamal Murray, Jalen Pickett, Pan Watson, Jokic, and Christian Brown. Another thing I would not have done. I don't know why the Nuggets are so hell-bent on pleasing CB's ego. I'm not saying that CB has an ego, but why would you not play him on the bench? P. Watt has shown you how much better he is than CB. Now, granted, he still played in the lineup as well. So who do you play instead of CB? Well, I, again, there would either play Strother or Tim Hardaway Jr. I would play CB off the bench. I don't know why it is so difficult to play him off the bench. I mean, he ended up playing 25 minutes tonight, so he played a good amount of minutes, but he, still looked rough around the edges. And I get it. He's coming back from an injury. There's going to be a little bit of breathing time for him to get back into the flow of things, but still, I would be more overly cautious. I would err on the side of caution more so than having him play. And if he was going to play him off the bench, give him some bench minutes. Not to say he's going to re-earn his starting spot. He still would have the starting spot. It's just right now in the recovery process, play him off the bench. It seems like AG is the only one who is willing to play off the bench as a starter. And that just gives me more respect for AG than it does the other starters. We'll see what Cam does when he comes back. So that'll be interesting. But The Nuggets were playing in their white jerseys and the Pistons were in their blue jerseys. And the Pistons got a win again. 124 to 121 is your final score. Again, they won by 3 points. 3 points. Again. If you remember the last match just last week when they played in Denver, they won by 3 points. I don't know what it is about these two teams, and the Pistons just narrowly edge out the Nuggets, but you lost 2 games against them now by exactly 3 points. Granted, the Pistons are terrible in the clutch, which allowed the Nuggets to battle back, and the Nuggets are fantastic in the clutch. It's just they had built such a deficit and such a hole they dug themselves into that it was too difficult for them to get out of this one. So let's dive in. For one thing before, the DNVR streaming, or the chat and the watch along, was completely reactionary to this one game and very negative to be around. The post-game chat thread was the same. Super negative, super reactionary. I do not want to be reactionary nor negative on this game. So if you are negative right now on the Nuggets, I would just ask you to take a breath. It is one game. Yes, we lost 2 games in a row now. That's not the first time this season that has happened. The Nuggets bounce back. It is sports. That's what happens. We don't need to be reactionary after one game. We do not need to be calling for the trade of Jamal Murray or the trade of Peyton Watson or the trade of Jokic. I do not want to hear that. Please do not say trade Jokic, trade Jamal, or trade Peyton Watson, or even trade CB. Because you can't trade CB, okay? He just signed the extension. You cannot trade him this season. I guarantee you cannot trade him this season. So do not even utter trade CB. You can't, okay? You got several guys in the bench that you can, and I would definitely be open for a conversation about that. I do think that they need to get off of Zeke Najee's contract. I think that is definitely weighing them down. And they want to get below the luxury tax right now anyways, and you can't get that much below the luxury tax by getting off of Hunter's contract, which I do think they'll probably buy him out. But I think that they're going to trade Zeke possibly by the end of this week to get under the luxury tax. If not him, they'll probably trade Julian Strother. Those are the 2 major front runners that the Nuggets, I think, will end up trading or getting rid of. So those are the only 2 that I care about talking about. Do not talk about trading anyone else, because it's not going to happen, okay? We're not going to trade AG. We're not going to trade Cam. We just traded for Cam, and he's been great. Regardless of what the trolls are saying, he's been great. I know he's been injured. When he comes back, he will have the same amount of impact, which is more than what you think. He is a great defensive player, so, especially for his time with the Nuggets. So let's get into this game, right? Because it's going to be a fairly quick breakdown. I didn't really take a lot of notes for the majority of the game. It was more so in the first. And then the rest of it, I lost really the motivation to continue to mark down notes. So what happened in this game? First quarter, the Pistons controlled the tip, and Duran, with an attempted finger roll lay-in, gets fouled, goes to the line, makes both free throws for the first points of the game. Nuggets would have to play catch up early on as Pickett gets his shot blocked on the other end, and then responds by stripping Thompson, but then the Nuggets aren't able to convert into points. Jokic intercepts, and P-Watt slow rolls it in for the first buckets for the Nuggets to get them on board. Jokic then takes over and draws the foul, plus the bucket, and then Nuggets, missing some really good looks, continued from that matchup against OKC, continues in this game, and that's just been kind of the story lately for the Nuggets. It's just that they, like, when you look at the Nuggets, they are the best offense in NBA. The stats all say it. Everyone says it. They are the best offense. So then you look at these last 2 games and you question, okay, how are they the best offense? They've been missing buckets. It happens. Sometimes the ball just doesn't drop for you. if you contest many of OKC's balls, they are not going to drop. Okay, they are terrible at contested shots. Even the 1 seed unbeatable OKC is terrible at contested shots. So it happens, okay? The Nuggets just are not, or they're going through a spell right now of not being able to make the shots that they're typically made to sink, but they generated a good amount of good looks tonight, and they just wasn't dropping for them. And so Nuggets then keep getting worked over, and the lead grows to 10 early on here. Jamal to CB for a near dunk gets CB his first points in like a month, which I noticed down because that was very notable, at least for me. I feel like getting CB some of those points to build his confidence, I felt like were very crucial. Jokic then draws another foul on Robinson as he drives to the basket, and Robinson was very complaining. Actually, no, the entire Pistons were very complaining tonight. For a team that was primarily dominant the entire game, they were very complaining. Like, it did not seem like a championship mentality kind of team. They were way too complaining. If they were really the championship level of team that they should be, they would be chill the entire time. Like, okay, yeah, this didn't fall or whatever, like, we'll play on, and then they would dominate continuing. The good teams don't typically complain that much. They already have that confidence level that despite what happens if a call happened that they didn't like, they're going to correct that later on. So that was really annoying to see with this game, was just how complaining the Pistons were. Nuggets then show they are missing AG's presence with the aggressive defense of the Pistons, and plus the big of defense of the Pistons. The Pistons are a big team, and the Nuggets have been showing a little bit of struggling against bigger teams. And so they were definitely missing AG tonight, you could tell. And so Big Val checks in, and he gets into it with Beef Stew. And in doing that, because Beef Stew, I think likes to antagonize and provoke other players into throwing the first punch or whatever. And if not that, then he is going to throw the first punch just to try to get a reaction out of the other player. And it's one of the most unlikable things about Stewart. I am not a big fan of his. I never have been. I think he's as dirty as Draymond Green, though I feel like I would take the side of Draymond Green against those two. And so he draws some kind of contact from Big Val, and everyone watching it, if you watched it, you would kind of almost seem like Big Val did a dirty play, but he didn't. He was provoked by Beef Stew. And so he gets Beef Stew in a headlock and then throws him down. And in doing that, Jalen Duren comes after him. And Jalen Duren's a big guy. I no doubt would not want to tangle with that guy. But Jalen Duren and anyone else in the league needs to have their heads checked if they think they're going to win a battle against Big Val. That dude is not to be messed with. Like, he is kind of similar to the Jokic's, you know? Do not mess with those guys. Those guys are way too big. They almost get in fights like a lot. I guarantee Big Val's been in quite a few fist fights. So he was ready to throw down. And it's really funny, too, because Big Val is typically a funny guy and a really easygoing guy. But when you get him hot, he gets hot. And that was what happened tonight. So he gets slapped with a flagrant foul because of that. And then there's a double tech placed on both Duren and Big Val. So those cancel each other. And then Beef Stew would go to the line and make the free throws. I think he would make one of two of the free throws because flagrant gives you two, and so then they got the ball back. But then the Nuggets off the flagrant rally a 9-1 push to force Pistons to a timeout and cut the lead to 4. So there was something about that heat from that Big Val was displaying that kind of motivated the Nuggets to kind of push back. That's what they need to do. If it's not the entire squad being ready and aggressive. At least someone needs to do it. Someone needs to do it to kind of urge the others to do it. And you weren't getting it from Jokic. You weren't getting it from Adelman. Adelman's been very quiet. I would love to see Adelman get ejected just once in a game like this. Show that you care. But he is way too collected, and it's even difficult for him to get a tech foul. Like, that's how almost like a Smurf like kind of quality Adelman has. No one takes him seriously, and that's going to be a problem too for the Nuggets. You gotta be bigger than you are, Adelman. You gotta get out there and you gotta back up your guys. If you get a tech, you get a tech. You make sure you earn that tech. Get a second tech. Get ejected if you have to. Fire the guys up because they need some firing up. They have a very low energy start to this game, and they just need a little bit of kick in the ass right now. And not a literal kick in the ass like we saw for most of this game or against the OKC, but you need like a firing of okay, our coach just got thrown out. Our MVP just got thrown out. What are we going to do? What are we going to do to step up? I mean, that's kind of what fired them up to win against the Sixers, if you remember. They were fired up in that game, and that's what you need. You need to bring that back. The Nuggets just kind of lost that. They got lackadaisical this last month, I would say. Ever since really that win against the Celtics. After that, they just kind of got a little bit more lackadaisical. So Nuggets then get into the bonus with 2 minutes left and chip the lead down even further, down to 2. But then Stewart draws an offensive foul on Zeke in the final seconds of the quarter and goes to the line, makes both free throws as the Pistons outscore the Nuggets 32-27. And it's unfortunate that that happened to Zeke because Zeke literally played 35 seconds. He played 35 seconds before Adelman said, no, we're not playing you anymore. Against a team where you needed that size. I thought that was a bad call on Adelman too. He really needed to have the size of Zeke Naji. And yeah, he got a little foul in those 35 seconds, but come on, give him a little bit more time. You need that size. And instead, you opted to play more minutes of Pickett, who has continued to struggle. Again, we got another game from Pickett with 0 points. Stop playing Pickett as a starter. Stop playing him as the starter. You gotta find someone else to play him as the starter. I loved the stuff that we got from Pickett at the beginning of last month. He hasn't been consistent, and he hasn't lived up to that. Yes, I still want to trust in him, and I still want to give him time, but right now, he needs a rest. He is not prepared to start this many games. You need to send him back to the bench. Let someone else start in his time. I hope that Adelman opts for a different lineup tomorrow because this is the first end of a back-to-back. They play the Knicks tomorrow. I really hope Adelman opts for a different lineup for the starters. So then the second quarter starts, and the Nuggets opted for a lineup of Big Val, Strother, Tim Hardaway Jr., CB, and Brucey B. As Tim Hardaway Jr. gets fouled, goes to the line to make 1 of 2 for the first points of the quarter, and then the Pistons start off on a 8-2 run to build another 10-point lead. Nuggets continue to show struggles against the hyper-aggressive defense that was the Pistons tonight, and then Jokic checks in at the 8:07 mark, and I understand the frustration that a lot of fans are having with Jokic right now, but you have to understand that he is coming back from the worst injury that he has sustained in his career. So this is all new territory for him. He is trying to find his footing with this injury. And if you remember the first game back after so long, he put up a near triple-double, an amazing double-double, 31 points in 24 minutes. It's going to happen. Sometimes you have these lulls. He still had a double-double tonight, and he still had a decent enough impact on the game. Yes, he had a lot of turnovers, and he had a lot of bad plays, and he was focusing a little bit too much on trying to draw the foul, but you got to give him a little bit more slack. The Nuggets fans are way too harsh right now. You got to ease it off. Ease it off. Like, just chill. right? So the Nuggets then their communication breaks down, and after I just said that, there's another play here where the communication just breaks down. Jokic gets the ball stripped from him, and then on the fast break, no one helps Tim Hardaway Jr., who is just left to defend alone Cade Cunningham and Isaiah Thompson. It was, and you could see that Tim Hardaway Jr. was frustrated by that. He looked at his teammates and were like, "Where the hell were you guys? I was alone." The team was very low energy in that first half. So much so that on the fast breaks, they were struggling to get back, or to even get back onto defense, or to get on the offensive side. The Pistons looked like they were just ready. And so that was a really, it kind of reminded me of that moment last season against the Cavaliers, where you had bad play, and then Aaron Gordon wanted the team to huddle up, and no one listened to him. Like, it kind of felt like that with this play with Tim Hardaway Jr. So I hope that Timmy doesn't take it personal, and that doesn't fracture any kind of energy that this squad has been building up. And because everything about this squad so far, all the reports coming in, is that they are vibing in the locker room. They love each other. They back each other up. I want that to continue. I don't want one play, one string of losses to break that, because then that's when you start to go downhill. Hopefully they rectify that, and they start to trust each other more, get communicated more, build that communication, because that was, I hope that they revisit that in their film study, Then Robinson for 3 gets the Pistons first to 50. Jokic, frustrated, gets tagged with a take foul after missing a no call on him, which, to be honest, this game was very poorly officiated. I will 100% agree with the fact that this game was poorly officiated, but still, in a game where the calls are just not going your way, it does not benefit you to continue to try to get those calls overtly. Like, that's kind of what happens with these hyper-aggressive defensive teams playing against the Nuggets, and especially Jokic. When he plays these hyper-aggressive teams, he gets way too much focused on drawing the foul than he does drawing the play. We saw that against OKC. We're now seeing that with the Pistons. And so I just feel like when they go up against these teams, they need to have a calmer mindset, but a more aggressive mindset as well. So when they push back against you, yeah, you push back, but you also don't let them affect your mental state. You stay locked on what's, the play. And they just were really struggling to come up with that in the first half there. So they can struggle to also contain defensive rebounds, and as the Pistons go up by 19. So they really struggled in the first half with rebounds in general. The second half is where they would actually bounce back. And so the stats will actually prove that the rebounds were not the issue tonight, though they were a little bit of the issue in the beginning of the game. So Pistons outscored the Nuggets again, 37-23, and take a 69-50 lead into the half. I think that right there was kind of a little bit what put the nail in the coffin, is what they say, When you are down by 19, and yes, no lead is safe in this league, but you have to have the mindset to overcome a 19-point lead. You can't just go and win one quarter by 10 and then another quarter by 1 or 3 or whatever. You need to have a big push in both of those quarters to make up for the points that you are down. And that's kind of what happened for the rest of this game here. So third quarter, the Nuggets start off with the starters as Jokic immediately out of the half banks a three just to start the quarter off. He just sinks a three easily, easy peasy, and for the first bucket of the quarter. And then Cade delivers a low blow. This was crazy. This was super crazy. So Cade was defending Jokic. He low blows Jokic. Jokic goes down. They check it for a flagrant foul and they deem it a common play. That's kind of where the officiating was. So I get the frustration that the Nuggets were having with the officiating. It was definitely frustrating. And plays like this, where they deemed a low blow on Jokic to be a common play, if that had been reversed and Jokic had low blowed Cade, you guarantee that he would have been signed up with a tech. That is kind of the BS of this whole officiating and the inconsistency of this entire season, really, with officiating. It's very frustrating. So Adelman then opts for the double big lineup after pretty much 2 quarters and a half a quarter of no double big lineup and just kind of finally being like, why don't we try this instead? I don't know why he didn't go for this sooner, because this is exactly what the Nuggets needed. They needed size against the Pistons. So as soon as Adelman opted for a double big lineup, the momentum shifted immediately for the Nuggets. They were able to control the rebounds. They were able to get on the fast breaks. They were able to contest the shots, right? And so DA then challenges a foul call on CB. It's successful, Denver's ball, and then they continue to chip down the lead, and they actually chip it down to 13 by the end of the quarter as the Nuggets outscore the Pistons 30-24. But that's kind of what I'm talking about. When you are down by 19 at the half to then in the third quarter, you can't just beat your opponent by 6. You have to beat them by more. You have to beat them by at least 12 when you're down by 9. Either that or you're going to come out with a monster fourth quarter. It's one or the other, and we didn't really, unfortunately, get either one. But the Nuggets did outscore the Pistons in that third quarter. It's just more of a narrow outscoring. So then the fourth quarter, the Nuggets start off with a lineup of Brucey B, Big Val, Tim Hardaway Jr., Julian Strawther, and Jokic would start the lineup for the fourth, as neither team can score a bucket. Finally, Big Val is fouled. That Detroit challenges. They take a timeout to challenge. Unsuccessful. And Big Val goes to the line, sinks both free throws for the first points of the quarter. And then Nuggets challenge an out-of-bounds call on Tim Hardaway Jr., which is also deemed unsuccessful. Cade, out of that, hits the floater and builds the lead back to 12. And then Duren, with a dunk, gets the Pistons first to 100. The Nuggets then slow to get back as the lead continues to grow to 14. Strawther claws the team back to a 10-point deficit. Strawther had amazing plays tonight. Let me see. And his points actually show a good amount of that too, but he was pretty good tonight. And so he get out of a couple of steals and good defensive plays, he claws them back to a 10-point deficit. Nuggets then just don't let off the gas, and they go on a 14-5 run, chip the lead down to 5. Doesn't stop there. Strawther, with a huge defensive play, slings it to Murray for the 3, gets the lead cut down to 2 in the clutch. Nuggets then outscored the Pistons again, 41-31 in the fourth. But it just was a little too much, a little too late, in the game to really come back with a win, as the Pistons once again outscored the beat the Nuggets. They get the W. 124-121 is the final score. So there was a lot that went wrong for the Nuggets in this game, but there was also a lot that went well for them too. This was yet another game that showed the struggles of the Nuggets against hyper-aggressive defensive teams, as well as teams that are typically bigger than them. The Nuggets came out with yet another low-energy first quarter and first half, to be honest. And when Adelman finally opted for the double big lineup of Big Val and Jokic is when things started to change for the positive for the Nuggets. This isn't on Jokic or Jamal, Both players are seeing double teams constantly, and Jokic is still dealing with a comeback from an injury. So it will take some time for him to get back into the MVP status that we know that he can play at. There are going to be some clunky moments, but you got a good game from Strother, and P-Watt continues to have positive minutes. So there are a lot of good takes from this game, even though it may not have looked like that. So let's get into the stats here, because I find that this would be the most interesting part of this game, and this will kind of prove a little bit of my point here. So when we look at the lineup, the starting lineup here, we had Peyton Watson with 37 minutes tonight. He played the most amount of minutes of any Nugget, damn near 38 minutes. He's once again playing a lot of minutes that the Nuggets are asking him to play, and he loves it. He's already said that he a lot of the times refuses to come out. He wants to play all 48 minutes if he can, but they are trying to, load management him. So he plays 37. He racks up 17 points. Not a phenomenal point, but it still is better given the rest of the lineup, right? And 17 is not that bad for a starter. It's not Murray level, or it's not Jokic level, but he's still continuing to play at a high level here. So 17 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks, 4 for 11 from field. Not a great stat there. That is 36%. But still, if you didn't watch the Old Man in the Three today, the podcast that Cam Johnson hosts, he had Michael Porter Jr. on as a guest. I highly recommend revisiting that episode, because it was it was very, very fascinating to listen to, just to hear them both talk about it. But Michael Porter Jr. was saying that he would rather go 1 for 13 than 1 for 5, because 1 for 13 shows that you still are confident to continue to put up the bucket or to put up the ball. 1 for 5 says that you've stopped trusting in yourself. And I understand that. That makes a lot of sense, especially to Michael Porter Jr.'s point, And so 4 for 11, I'm not going to hate P-Watt for that. That just continues to show that he does have confidence. The one criticism that the one critique that I would give Peyton Watson is that when he is driving to the rim and he has 4 guys in front of him clogging up the paint, maybe kick it over to someone else, because there was one moment in this game where he did that and he was guarded by 4 guys and blocked by 4 guys, where Tim Hardaway Jr. was wide open in the corner for a 3. And we know how much he loves those 3s. He could have easily have sank that. So there is a little bit of time where I feel like Watson needs to stop playing hero ball. As much as I want to see him continue to shoot the ball, I do think that he needs to learn a little bit more of how to throw assists to some other players. So he is 4 for 11, 0 for 1 from 3, 9 for 11 from free throws, 3 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, was a +9. So, not great with the turnovers, not horrible either. We have seen worse turnovers. So 3, is it's what it is. 3 personal fouls though was an issue. And then Christian Brown on his return game played 25 minutes. He put up 6 points, 0 rebounds, 2 assists. He was 2 for 6 from field, 0 for 1 from 3, 2 for 2 in free throws, 0 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, was a -9. So you had P-Watt at a 9 and CB at a -9, which kind of already says kind of what we already know right now in this season, that Peyton Watson is that much better than CB right now. But now we go to Jokic, who played 32 minutes. So the minutes are getting up. And if you notice, he also was not on the injury report at all. So I think that we hopefully are in the clear with him. He put up, in 32 minutes, he put up 24 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He was 9 for 19 from field, 3 for 5 from 3, 3 for 3 in free throws, 5 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, was also a -9. But a double-double, unfortunately a near triple-double with that 5 turnovers. Not the greatest stat, but it's not something that we're not surprised with, right? Where it's typical for Jokic to rack up that many turnovers. And that is kind of a low turnover for a game for Jokic, to be honest. It kind of sucks that some of those shouldn't have even been turnovers, because if he hadn't have been trying to work so hard for the foul, he probably could have maintained control of the ball and gotten the bucket. But still, 24, 15, and 4, not a bad stat. For anyone else, that is a good stat. It's only because of Jokic that we start to think, oh, well, what's wrong with Jokic and everything? He's coming back from an injury. Lay off of him. Jalen Pickett, in 10 minutes played, had 0 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 block. That's pretty good, right? 1 block for Jalen Pickett. The shortest guy on the floor got 1 block. He was 0 for 5 from field, 0 for 4 from 3. He had 0 turnovers, 1 personal foul, was a -4. So either that 0 for 5 is that he stopped trusting in himself, or that 0 for 5 was that the rest of the team stopped trusting him. Either way, I think he still needs a break. So get him off the starting lineup, put him on the bench again. Murray, Blue Arrow, Jamal Star. I am going to continue to praise Jamal. I don't care what anyone says. I love Jamal. I am glad that he's on this team, and I do not want him traded. He needs to be a Nugget for life. He is a Nugget for life, and he will retire as a Nugget. I'm going to will it and manifest it. Huge fan of Jamal. So he played 36 minutes tonight, the second most amount of minutes. That's also the thing people keep on forgetting. Jamal has been typically playing the most amount of minutes of any Nugget for the majority of this season. He has been carrying this team on his back. Like, the fact that the Nuggets actually overachieved in the non-Jokic month is primarily due to Murray. So stop with the Murray hate. If you are a hater of Murray, you stay on that side. When he shows you, again, how much of an all-star he is, you stay on that side. You do not come over and say, oh, well, I was wrong about Murray. No, you stay on that side, okay? We do not want you on the Murray side. 32 points for the Blue Arrow tonight. 1 rebound, 8 assists. He is really starting to focus a lot more on the assist part while still making the buckets. I love that. That's kind of reflective of the Murray that we knew from the chip year, right? He, in the finals, he was racking up a lot of assists. He was averaging like 10 assists in that finals game, or in that finals matchup against the Miami Heat. I mean, this is, again, the best season of Jamal. And if you are hating him right now, then I don't know how much more he can do for you to really win you over, because he is playing at a phenomenal rate right now. So he got 8 assists, 2 blocks. He was 8 for 17 from field, 4 for 8 from 3, 12 for 13 from free throws. So he has been making his free throws. If you remember, the last time that the Nuggets faced the Pistons in Denver was that game where he missed those 4 game-altering clutch free throws. He actually would be back into the clutch free throws for this game, and he made every single one. That is who Jamal is. If he makes a mistake, he rectifies it, and it will not make that mistake again. So it's good to see that. He also had 0 turnovers in a game that was relatively, higher than normal for turnovers for the Nuggets. He did not contribute to the turnovers in this game. 0 turnovers. Also, he did not contribute to the fouls in this game. You can take that one or two ways. One, he needs to be more aggressive. I will 100% agree with the people saying that he needs to be aggressive, because he does. And I think he also knows he needs to be more aggressive. But he had 0 personal fouls. He was a +5, too. So Peyton Watson was the highest plus-minus of any Nugget tonight. Murray was the second highest plus minus, but he scored the most amount of points for the Nuggets. Let me see here. Did he? Oh, damn. He also was the highest scorer of the game. What? The next one was Cade Cunningham, who made 29, but he had 32 points, man. You got to tip your hats to Jamal Murray, man. He is still having a decent or good season right now. He's in a great season. Let me correct that. He's having a great season. So, bench-wise, I just wanted to shout out a couple players here. So, Valanciunas, he played 21 minutes, but then when he was paired up with Jokic, even in the non-Jokic minutes, he got himself a double-double. So we had 2 guys tonight with double-doubles, and that was just happened to be our 2 bigs. So he got an 11 and 11 points, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 3 blocks. He was 4 for 4 in field, so he made all of his buckets, which is awesome. He was 3 for 5 in free throws, so he could have been better there, because especially in a game where every point seemed like it mattered. And then he had 1 turnover, 4 personal fouls. He was a plus 16. So I correct myself. It wasn't Watson. It was Valanciunas was the highest plus minus of any Nugget tonight. Payne Watson was the second. Murray was the third. So that's pretty interesting right there, right? Brucey B also had a good impact in this game. In 23 minutes, he racked up 10 points off the bench, 2 rebounds, 2 steals. He was 3 for 5 from field, 1 for 3 from 3, 3 for 3 in free throws, 0 turnovers, 3 personal fouls, was a -9. You had Strother also that I wanted to shout out with another 23 minutes played. So both of those guys played 23 minutes. He racked up 15 points off the bench, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. I could have sworn he had some steals in there. I'm surprised that they did not credit him with some of those steals. That is unfortunate for him, but he definitely earned some steals there and some blocks, I think. But he shot 6 for 9 from field, 1 for 4 in 3, 2 for 2 in free throws, 1 turnover, 0 personal fouls, was a -1. I think that is a great silver lining here in this game, is that you got some more good minutes from Strother. Any game where you get good minutes from Strother is a positive to really take away from the game, because then that also ups the value. If you wanted to trade someone like Strother, maybe get a better defender or whatever, here's your chance. Let's praise the players from doing good stuff because it ups their value, right? And so that's why I really wish that Adelman would have let Zeke play a little bit longer, up the value there. I was a little surprised that he didn't play Deron Holmes or Hunter Tyson at any one point, especially because, again, you need size. Those guys give you size, especially Holmes. But overall stats, we had 43 rebounds. They had 43 rebounds. So, again, this was not a rebounding issue. It was a little bit in the beginning of the quarter or in the beginning of the game, but then it evened out. We had 20 assists to their 27. So there, again, that was another issue too, is that they were able to move the ball around better than we were. We had 7 steals. They had 9. We had 10 blocks to their 4. So we did outblock them. That's primarily from Payne Watson and Valanciunas, each with 3. So... And then Murray got himself a couple, pretty awesome. And then we shot 44% from field. They shot 45%. We shot 33% from 3. They shot 41%, which is just rotten luck. They're not a great 3-point shooting team. And here they just shot better than you. And we're supposed to be that best 3-point shooting team in the league. And here we just did not have it. So free throw wise, we shot 86%. They also shot 86%. Turnovers, we had 10, they had 9. Personal fouls, we had 20, they had 27. So you already right there, you can tell that they were more aggressive than we were. And that was kind of a big take from the game. It's just the Nuggets are just not aggressive enough. They need to be more aggressive. And to be honest, whenever Adelman says that the Nuggets need to be more aggressive, that's kind of what the media was asking the Nuggets at the start of the season or in preseason when they were talking about defensiveness. And Adelman's only response was, we're focused more on offense. If you are focused more on offense, when it comes down to defense in the regular season, you cannot say, oh, the guys need to be more defensive. They're not going to be defensive because that's not what you're focused on. You're focused on offense. You can't just assume the guys to be more defensive if you're not focusing on the defense. Now, preparing defense is very difficult. and it's kind of more of a thing that you learn in the moment, but there's a lot of players who like pride themselves in their defense, and unfortunately, several of our guys aren't the best defenders. But I will say this. To anyone who says that the Nuggets are terrible at defense, we still have one of the best shot blockers in the league in Peyton Watson. He's the best shot blocker. He's also one of the best and only three-point perimeter defender. He also defends the rim really well. So you have Peyton Watson. Again, another reason why you need to keep Peyton Watson. I don't want to see him walk away at the end of the season. You need to do whatever you need to do to maintain Watson. Valanciunas is also another player who is a great rim defender, a rim protector. And then Zeke, as difficult as some of the Zeke minutes are, defensive-wise, he is actually really good. He's one of our best defenders. So you have Zeke, you have Valanciunas, you have Peyton Watson. When AG is in the lineup, he's a good defender. He's an aggressive defender. He's a beefy, big guy, And then CB also gives you some defense, as well as Murray. Murray generates a lot of steals. And that gets overlooked a lot of the times because everyone's so focused on the points that he's making, but he generates a good amount of steals a lot of times. And then also Jokic, Jokic generates a lot of steals. He was top 3 in steals last season. Give him more credit. I know he is not the best rim defender or shot blocker, but that's never been his specialty. He more so is good at throwing the team off and reading what they're going to do so that he can get away with the steals. He gets his hand in there quickly enough to not draw a foul, but to get the ball. So the Nuggets still have a lot of pieces that are very useful, and they're just trying to figure things out right now. Luckily, there is still some time, though that gap is shrinking as the games go on. So maybe you lose a little bit of spacing here in the seeding in this couple of weeks, but you'll gain it back at the end of, or when we come back from All-Star break. The Nuggets typically are really good after the All-Star break, and that's kind of what I'm looking at now. I think that a lot of the team themselves are waiting for the All-Star break to happen so that they can get rested up and just come back refreshed. But, the biggest thing is that they need to be better at defense. So because of this, the standings, we are now only a half a game ahead of Houston, and we are now a full game behind the Spurs. If you remember, a week ago, we were in the same position, and then we gained a good cushion between us and the 4th seed, and we overtook the 2nd seed. So this happens. The Nuggets are going to shift back and forth. It's typically what happens. No one needs to have a full-on meltdown. We're going to be in the playoffs. We're going to have the best chances in the playoffs, short of the Thunder, to make it to the Western Conference Finals. So unless something terrible happens, which I do not want to manifest at all, the Nuggets are in a good spot. So everyone can just chill, to be honest. You can all chill. Some big news out of the industry tonight was we got that Jaren Jackson Jr. Got traded from Memphis, and he's being swapped with some players out of the Jazz. So he's going to the Jazz. I thought that was crazy because I thought that John Morant was going to leave Memphis before anyone else did. And here, surprisingly, they got rid of their best defender in Jaren Jackson Jr., and they sent him to Jazz. That actually makes the Jazz, to me, more of a problem come next season, because they're still going to tank the rest of this season, and they're going to get a first-round draft pick this coming draft, and they're going to start. That's how the process of their rebuild is going to be. So next season, you're going to have Lauri Markkanen. George is still playing really, really well. And then now you have Jackson Jr., and then Walker Kessler will be back. This is going to be a really difficult team to match up against come next season. So I would definitely keep your eyes on them in the offseason and come the start of next season, because they were already winning some games early on, and then they took a little bit of a dip. Remember? But I foresee them being more of a playoff team next season for sure. And then there was also the big thing. Well, actually, there was two other moves here. So the one kind of confusing one was that there's a 3-team shifting of draft stuff here, where you had Timberwolves trading Mike Conley to Chicago. The Pistons traded Jaden Ivey to Chicago as well. And then Chicago traded Herter and Dario Saric, who they just got, to the Pistons. Or no, sorry. Was it? To the Pistons. And so I don't know what that... that was kind of funny because Dario just got to the Chicago. He barely had time to unpack his bags, and now he moved away again. And I'm pretty sure that he's up for basically trading again, and we'll see about that. But the big thing there was that the Timberwolves are making a move for Giannis. That was the reason behind why they did what they did. So they're probably going to package Jaden McDaniels in a package for Giannis. We will see. I do not want Giannis in the Western Conference. The Western Conference is already difficult enough as it is. I would rather him go to Miami or to New York, stay in the Eastern Conference side. But that is, I hope that doesn't happen. But we will see what comes of that. Then the other thing is that Conley is now also possibly a buyout and looking for another team from that. So who he'll line up with is kind of left to be said. There's, I know DNVR floated, what if he came to Denver, which would actually not be a bad idea. I think it would definitely strengthen Denver's 3-point shooting, which is already strong enough as it is. But then you also give a little bit more defending because he does play a decent amount of defending in there too. So we'll see there. But then the other big talk was that Harden got traded to the Cavaliers for Darius Garland. I loved that trade. I don't know about anyone else, but I am so happy for that trade because that means that Harden is no longer in the West. Get that guy out of the West. I hate seeing him 4 times a season. I'm so glad the West has one less flopper in it. That made me happy. I was so glad about that. But the other side of that too is that means that we're going to be facing Harden on Monday when we face the Cavaliers. So that hopefully he doesn't play. I hope he doesn't play on Monday. I hope that he's still getting things sorted out or whatever, and he does not play on Monday. But I would not be surprised if he did. So that's pretty much all I got for this episode, though. Just really to reiterate real quick, Nuggets Nation, just kind of chill. Like, I know it's we got all gonna need to get passionate about the team and everything, but there's no need to get so reactionary of like when the team does something bad to immediately opt for trade him, get rid of him. Like, if it's Zeke Naji, I completely understand because he's had time. Some of the other guys, you got to put into the fact of the scenario that they're playing in right now, coming off of injuries, hurt and everything. And like, just because a guy gets hurt doesn't mean you trade him. And that's one thing that the Nuggets have taught us is to give the players chances. They took a chance on Michael Porter Jr. when he had a huge back issue and they didn't know if he was going to even play. Right? They still drafted him and they still were a little concerned, but then he got the second back surgery. They trusted it in him and they won a title because of him. Same thing with Jamal Murray. He went down with the ACL injury. He thought he was going to get traded. They kept him. They trusted it in him and they won a title because of him. Yes, they won a title because of Jokic too, but you don't get that title without the surrounding players around Jokic because that's the one thing. Jokic is so good that he trusts his team. He cannot win the title on his own. He has to. He wins when he assists other players. So we'll be good, right? We'll be good. It just sucks the part of sports where you have to lose a couple to really appreciate it, but we'll get there. So tomorrow is against the Knicks. We'll see how they do. The Knicks are the second hottest team in the league right now with what's their They're on a 7-game winning streak. They just took on the Wizards tonight. So they're also on the second of a back-to-back, though their second end is a little bit different than our second end because of the fact that the first end they faced easy Wizards, an easy win, and we had to face the 1 seed. So a little bit of a difference there. But we'll still, have a good matchup against them. And they've typically have been a better matchup against us in recent seasons. So hopefully the Nuggets come out with the urgency that they have been needing, and we'll see tomorrow if they do or not. But they're the hottest team, the second hottest team. First hottest team is still the Charlotte Hornets. So, hats off to them. They're doing phenomenal things here. So, but that's pretty much all I got for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe. Share it out to your friends and family. And if you do feel gracious enough to give me a donation, I really appreciate it. The link for the PayPal is in the description below, as well as on the PayPal page or my profile page. You can also tack on a take or a comment about the team, a player, or another team and another player, this game or another game, whatever you want. If you want to talk about another sport, or if you want to talk about movies, Oscars are happening, let's talk about it. Or if you want to talk about the music, because the Grammys just happened, or whatever you want to talk about, I'll shout you out on the next episode and we'll go from there. But you've been listening to CS 105.1, where I talk about the Nuggets with good vibes. We'll catch you later.